that few of you may get some noise from outside, but we'll just try to make do with it. The agenda had been shared with you a couple of days back by the Secretariat, and can we have it? Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. So you have to tune into channel 3 to hear the recording if you are in the room. So the agenda which was shared was approval of the summary record of 2023. Oh, yes. Can you hear it now? I think the online participants are having a tough time. Okay. Okay. So the summary record of last year's General Assembly had been shared, and we had also prepared an annual report and shared well in advance earlier this year. It's also there in the website. We would. Okay. Is it better now? Oh, video. For video, I'm not too sure where it works or it doesn't work. You have to do without the video, I guess. That's how it is. We have some limitations, and we would also need the approval of the community on the annual budgets based upon the recommendations of the executive summary, which we would be executive committee. Some discussion on the fundraising. I'm sorry, we are trying to. Is this better? Can you hear me now? In the Zoom room? Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, so then Flavio will lead the discussion on the election of the executive committee. We have the obligatory release of the obligations for the executive committee members, and any comments the community would want to raise. If the agenda is okay with all, could we adopt it? And if there is anything else you would want us to, please put it on the chat or in participating remotely. Hearing no objections, could we would be adopting the agenda. And Jennifer, would you like to share the summary record of 2023 General Assembly? And if you could share the presentation also. I'm passing it on to Jennifer from our Secretariat.
Thank you, everyone. This is Jen Chung from the IGF SA Secretariat. Just a brief overview of the summary record of last time, the 2023 IGFSA General Assembly that was held on the margins of the Kyoto meeting last year. This was shared to the membership via the membership list and also posted on the IGFSA website. I think, Pio, if you're able to click through. Yes. Or not that. It's okay. Go back to the slide. It's fine. I'll just speak to it very briefly. Last General Assembly, we had over 45 IGFSA members and observers, as well as remote hubs in the room via remote participation. The agenda is actually largely the same as we have this year. It was adopted. We shared a different... apologies, 1 second. We shared the results of the elections that were actually held and postponed to be held in the early February of 2024. As a result of that elections, we actually have the current slate of executive committee members that are before you now. We had an approval of the annual budget based on the recommendation of the executive committee last year. There was discussion on fundraising and appreciation expressed by recipients of the IGF Support Association small grants. There was a note that there has been an increase of youth initiatives globally, which is also reflected in the grant applications we have received. There was a further discussion for the IGF Support Association to look at ways to expand its donor base. Chair noted that this is actually a priority discussion item last time with the executive committee, and we have done so this year in 2024, which I will share later in the activity report. There was also brief discussion on how we can involve the IGF Support Association members further in the fundraising activities. It was noted that in previous years there were informal gatherings in the margins of different meetings where we meet physically, and IGF Support Association can leverage this to be able to bring more value to the NRIs we serve and also the IGF Support Association members. So this is the brief overview of the summary record of the 2023 General Assembly. Now I leave it to our chair to see if there are any questions from the membership before we adopt it.
May I request the sound bar to be moved? People aren't able to see the screen. Yes, thank you. Is there any questions on 2023? If not, Jennifer, we can move to what we did supporting what our projections are for the future. Yes, Henriette has a question, so I'm passing it on to her.
It's really a comment rather than a question. I just think it was fantastic how in 2023 the NRI and youth IGF community bounced back after COVID. There was just really, it almost felt as if there was an expansion in activities as a result of COVID. So it was good to see that.
Yes, and Vint has a comment saying that it would be good if we could enable video and sound for remote participants. I think that is closed at the console. If we can allow our online participants, if we can see them in the Zoom room as well as allow them to speak. Could we have the remote participants shown on the video, and if we can allow them to speak when they do, because it's our private AGM. So we'll see the next set of what was done in 2023, and I'm passing it on to Jennifer.
Thank you, Amrita. This is Jen again from the Secretariat. Now on to the agenda item describing the activity report between the last General Assembly we've had. So it's 3. Can the captioner hear me? Okay, it seems that they can. Okay, and 2024. As I mentioned very briefly in the summary record of the previous annual report, I'm not going to repeat that, but I will. The mic. Sit down. No, this is difficult, right? I will try to sit. I will actually do some highlights of the activity report of 2024. So, as mentioned earlier, we held 2 executive committee elections in the year because we postponed the previous one. And our current slate of executive committee members includes as follows. We have Amrita Chaudhary as our chair, and newly elected previously to the EC, we have Flavio Wagner, and we have we also returned 4 executive committee members to our EC. They are respectively Joyce Chen from AP NIC, Wisdom Donkor, individual from UK government, and Chris Ondini from ICANN. So the executive committee held 10 meetings over the course of this activity period. There were also separate committee meetings and informal non-quorate discussions to try to discuss how we can expand the donor base of IGF support associations. 7 of these meetings were held in a virtual setting, and 3 were held in a hybrid manner in the margins of the different ICANN meetings that we had throughout the year. In carrying out its tasks, the EC is supported by a secretary and a secretariat responsible for day-to-day activities. Asia organization provides additional personnel for this effort. We still have our IGFSA accountant, Michael Parrott, retained to do our audit and our books. The membership categories for IGF Support Association continues as follows, with individual membership with the annual membership dues of $25 and the organizational membership with an annual membership of $100. To date, we have 278 IGF SA members, individuals and organizations inclusive, and 34 of these members are deemed active, meaning that they are currently paid up with their dues. Active membership confers the benefits to be able to run for open executive committee seats, as well as receiving the ballots to vote in these particular elections. Now a brief update on the fundraising activities of the association this year. We'll have a more in-depth discussion when we reach that in the agenda item later. In 2024, the association received contributions from new donor, TESBOC, and also returning donors, ICANN, and also the NRO. While the membership fees are not the primary resource for the funding, we've also received regular membership dues from and individual contributions and donations. For a more detailed breakdown of these fundings received, we will be talking through that, I think, from our treasurer, Nigel Hickson, when we come to the financial reporting. The more in-depth and highlight I would like to go into right now is the allocation of funding that we actually allocated out this year. We prioritize the regional and national, the sub-regional and the youth initiatives. This year we have funded 26 of these initiatives. 6 of them went to the regional and sub-regional IGFs, 10 from the national initiatives, and also 10 from the youth initiatives, which is double the number from the previous year. This brings the IGFSA total contribution to date to a cumulative total of $601,000 US. And this year alone, it is $52,500 US. We do have a projected funding allocation for 2025 in US dollars. I don't know, Pio, if you're able to show this on the screen as well. If you're able to, let me know. If not, I would refer our members to the annual activity report posted on the website. We project to be allocating $50,000 US for the national, sub-regional, regional, and youth initiatives. We will continue supporting the UN IGF Trust Fund at the amount of $10,000 US, with additional support to the IGF Secretariat, operations, and logistics, including interns that they bring to the annual meetings, of $5,000 US. For the accessibility, which is the captioning, the website accessibility for the IGF website, as well as the captioning for the different intersessional meetings and works of the dynamic coalitions and the NRIs, $5,000 US. And then finally, the projected expenses for the administrative portion, which is $20,000 US. I have mentioned already the contribution to the trust fund, so I won't repeat myself here. I'll go through a brief list of the national and regional initiatives we have supported this year. So, as part of the priority, we have given funding to the Central Africa, West Africa IGF, Asia Pacific Regional IGF, Eurodig, the Lusophone IGF, LAC IGF, and then the following national IGFs were received support from IGFSA this year. Armenia IGF, Benin IGF, Bosnia and Herzegovina IGF, Moldova. Can we hear me? Can you hear me, Zoom room or current room? I think the room can hear me, but maybe Zoom cannot hear me. Okay. Okay. Following national IGFs, Armenia, Benin, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Moldova, Lebanon, Liberia, Panama, Uganda, and Kazakhstan. And then the following youth IGFs were approved to receive support funding. So Burundi Youth IGF, Cambodia Youth IGF, Ghana Youth IGF, India Youth IGF, Myanmar Youth IGF, the Asia Pacific Youth IGF, Hong Kong Youth IGF, Southeast Asia IGF, and LAC Youth IGF. I will skip now to some special outreach activities that IGFSA has conducted over this past year. Did produce a 10-year report last year because of establishment of IGFSA back in 2014. And this has actually assisted IGFSA in the outreach activities to potential donors and retaining current sponsors and donors as well. We also conducted a series of outreach efforts during the ICANN AT Kigali meeting, where we met with several different ICANN constituencies, stakeholder groups, and advisory committees as well. In addition to these printed materials and reports, we've also tried to look at how we can increase the value of IGFSA membership. So I'm very happy to let all of the active members know we've actually produced a IGFSA t-shirt. Please come to me after this General Assembly to receive that if you are an active member. And then finally, the EC has had discussions on how to increase the IGFSA membership base, and that's my conclusion for a brief overview of the activities that IGFSA has conducted in this past year. Back to Amrita.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And for those who could not see the entire report, I think, Jennifer, you would be posting it online. It's already posted on the website. And if someone can post the link into the chat of the people, the NRIs who have been supported this year, because we have some challenges in terms of sharing, presenting things on the screen. And Nigel, I believe you will be sharing the financials right now. So over to you.
Yes. Good morning. Well, good morning from Europe. Good afternoon to you.
Nigel, over to you. We can't hear you yet.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Pretty faint. It's very faint. I think it's...
I'm trying to speak here. Can you hear me at all?
It's very faint. We can't... Okay.
I think it must be the Zoom, but I'll continue. I'll be fairly brief. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be talking to you. I'm Nigel Hickson. I work for the UK government, and I'm currently the treasurer of the IGFSA, which is an honour. Jennifer has already outlined a lot of the activities that have been taking place. So I think I can fairly briefly go through the funding, the financial statement, which hopefully can be either put on the, I don't know if it's being distributed or it could be put on the screen. I leave that leave the logistics to those in the room, but hopefully people will have seen it in some way or another. Is that correct, Amrita?
We are trying to have it showcased on the screen right now. Can we have it? The financials? Just give us a moment, Nigel. And apologies, everyone. We are just trying to sort this out. By the time the statement is up. In case anyone online or in the room has any questions, please feel free to raise your hand online, or uh, you you can speak if you want.
Well, yes, it's obviously difficult to pick out bits in the accounts if you haven't got it in front of you, but let me just give you, while we're trying to get it on the screen, let me give you a high-level summary. So as you can see, the IGFSA, or as you can see from the report that Jennifer gave, has been successful in funding a whole range of NRAs, from youth IGFs to regional IGFs to national IGFs. This is our purpose, and it's really excellent that we've had applications, a whole range of applications this year. As such, we've managed to allocate a considerable sort of sum of monies to these activities, which is of course what it's all about. In terms of the overall funding, right, excellent. Perhaps we could, let's thank you so much for that. So let's go to the top. So in terms of total assets, these are all shown in Swiss francs, by the way. We have a Swiss franc account, but we also have a dollar account, which we generally use. And so the total assets this year, as you can see, are donated in Swiss francs, 106,000 Swiss francs. So that's gone down from 132, roughly 132,000 Swiss francs last year. And I'll come back to that, because clearly this is of concern. So if we go down a bit further to the statement of activities, and we'll just touch on the total revenues here. So the revenues are made up of membership fees, which is of course a minor contribution, but it's so welcome to have members, and contributions. And I think Jen has already mentioned we had contributions from the NROs, the National Regional Organisations. These are the RIRs, Regional Internet Registries, and thank you so much for that. We had a contribution from ICANN, and we had a contribution from Testport. So we're very grateful for those, and I'll come back to that again in terms of further contributions needed. So if we go slowly down under the total revenues, you'll see the total expenses, which is sorry, if we could go up just a bit. I just wanted to, could we go back up? Thank you very much. So under activities, total revenues, so contributions to the trust fund, contribution to regional and regional IGFs and national IGFs. I just wanted to highlight that 44,000. That's the crux of our business, so to speak, to ensure that we are able to pay out those activities. And then if we go down a bit further on total expenses, thank you so much. On the total expenses, I mean, the total expenses were 57,000, as you can see. Okay, so those are I think are the primary figures that we've spoken about here. There is a projection for next year's expenditure, which Jennifer mentioned, which is in the annual report. So that projection, on the basis of sort of current funding levels, would be 90K. That's 90,000 US dollars. But given the similarity of the dollar rate and the sort of the dollar rate and the Swiss franc rate, we are talking about a significant, if you like, decline in our funding levels, or in our assets levels. We have 106 106,000 Swiss francs at the moment. So if we were to spend $90,000 next year, we would our assets would be considerably deplenished. So that's why we're looking for further funding sources next year. We're very grateful to ICANN and the NROs for continuing to fund us, but clearly we can't rely on those institutions alone. So that's why we're looking further for funding. But I mean, the really positive thing is that we're able to fund the really valuable activities of the NRIs. That's what it's about, and we'll make sure that we continue to have the assets through one way or other to be able to continue to fund the activities of the NRIs, because their contribution to the overall life of the IGF is just so significant, as Henriette mentioned earlier. So I think I'll stop there. I'd like to thank Michael Parrott, of course, who assembles, who helps with all our financial needs in Geneva, and works with me in approving all the payments, etc. So I'll stop there, but happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Nigel. And can we have it on the screen, please? The projected budget for 2025. In case there are any questions for Nigel, please raise your hand in the Zoom room. Can we see the Zoom room participants? And anyone in the room, if you have any questions. Else? Yes. Yes. What?
Directed to ICANN, though. I don't know if Adam can answer. There is a Zoom room question from Jolie McPhee. And the question is, have ICANN indicated they will repeat contribution?
I'm not sure whether ICANN is in the room.
So Adam Peake is there in the room, but I don't think he may be in a position to answer. But Jolly, we'll have to ask ICANN. They haven't said no. They've not given any indications to say no. But Adam is trying to respond to it.
Thank you, Jolie. I can't answer at the moment, but I can tell you that we give quite a significant money to the Global IGF Trust Fund, and I'm looking at a list here that we support. Last year, 7 or 8 youth IGFs, all of the regional IGFs, and about 25 other national and regional IGFs through our engagement activities. This includes people, resources, money, income support. So I'm sorry I can't answer the specific question, but I think we are quite significant supporters of the IGF. Thank you.
Thank you, Nigel. Vint has his hand up. So Vint, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, thanks very much for the report. Second,
Can you unmute Vint, sir, please?
I am theoretically unmuted. Can you hear me?
Can you unmute Vint Surf, who has raised his hand? His hand is raised. Vint Surf.
I am unmuted. Are you not able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear.
Nigel says he can hear me. Can anyone else hear me? I'm not getting confirmation from the room that they can hear me.
Sorry, Vint, we can't hear. Can you hear him? No.
If you can't hear me, I'll enter something in the chat. How's that? Apparently, people on the Zoom can hear me, but no one else.
We can hear you now.
Oh, you can. All right. I just want to emphasize the importance of support for the NRIs and the youth activities. This is the one thing that's very unique about IGF, in addition to the annual meetings. And as you know, we are under scrutiny during the World Summit on the Information Society Plus 20 coming up next year. And our existence is in question. I would argue that the support for the regional and national activities and the youth activities are very, very important to justifying our existence in addition to the annual meeting. So I want to encourage IGFSA to continue its support for those activities.
Thank you so much, Vint. All of you have seen the projected budget for 2025. If it is okay with all, could we adopt it? And I do see Nigel's hand raised. By the time you think about it, Nigel, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much. And just very briefly from me, thank you so much for your comments, Vint. And I ought to have said it was very remiss of me that you have been, and the Tides Foundation, Google as well, have been a major funder of the IGFSA over the years, and your contributions in recent years have really put us on a standing where we could support these NRI activities. We could support various transcription services which we provide for various IGF MAG meetings. So it really has been very valuable, and we are looking for obviously to sustain our funding so we can go on and fund these activities, which are just so great to see. Thank you.
Thank you, Nigel. Can we come back to the annual plan for 2025? If no one has any objections, can we approve it? Theo, can we see the sheet? I don't see any objection, though it's not up in the screen at this point of time. We can consider it adopted. Thank you so much. And the next agenda item would be fundraising. So this year, fundraising, as was already mentioned by Nigel, is something which is very crucial for us, especially to get more funding on. And we have at the ICANN meetings, we have been meeting the various CCTLDs or even GNSO and other places for funding. But at this point of time, it has not increased our membership any in the membership from the activities. Can perhaps we will have to look at it in a different way, or go to the CCTLDs like CIRA or the others who may be who are financially stronger, who believe in the multi-stakeholder model and want to help the IGF sustain. Because many, and if you've seen even this year, IGF has not been able to support many of the NRIs. It was the IGF Support Association which did it. And if the contributions come more, we can support these initiatives with much more money than we currently do. So in case you know of people whom we can reach out to in terms of membership, in terms of who can fund, even provide some amount of fund, that would be helpful. And another thing I think we need to look at is the members who are not active, meaning who have not paid their annual membership. Perhaps we need to relook and get in touch with them to at least pay their membership. It may not be something significant, but I think that's something we need to work on. I hope I'm audible in the Zoom room. And if anyone has any ideas on whom we can reach out to, because it's a more volunteer-based organization, that would be helpful. And I think Vint has his hand up. So can we have Vint sharing his views? And can we have him on the screen?
It's Vint again. I'm just noticing that the membership dues for organizations is very low. I wonder whether we shouldn't increase that to $1,000 or even $5,000 in order to generate much more significant revenue from organizations that can afford it.
That's a great idea, Vint, that we can also have categories of membership. If there are smaller civil, like for example, recently it was Andriette's idea to reach out to civil society organizations and ask them to be members. We have one of such member from Digital Empowerment Foundation and Leah from GDP out here who have pledged to be members. And thank you for both of you to come. And we want to have more civil society members also coming in. And we could have larger companies who have bigger, deeper pockets to invest more. So that's a good idea. Anyone else has any ideas? Please feel free to share. Sama had something, so Sama, over to you.
No, just to add into that one, category-based contribution and category-based contribution, even up to the level of associate and individual members, civil society, corporate have different sizes. Also, will take a long way. And the other thing is that there can be a campaign by the members themselves that I have become a member. Can I also invite some other friends to become member? It's not too much that the basic membership, but I also feel that make it more citizen oriented also, so invite individuals also to become members.
So Henriette wants to share some of her ideas.
I just Hi everyone, Henriette here. I think one of the issues also explored, and I would like your feedback on this, but not very close. Is that better? I have to hold it there. Oh, it's a mechanical issue. I like mechanical problems. We discussed within the executive, Henriette Esterhuizen here for the record, within the executive committee, asking recipient NRIs to become members. And I'd like your feedback on that, whether you think that would be inappropriate or is that a legitimate request that we invite those NRIs and youth initiatives that receive grants from IGF SA to also become a member. There might be a challenge because not all of them have a legal identity, but I would like your feedback on that suggestion.
Might be. This is Baburam from for the record from Nepal. Might be one interesting proposal. Local, for example, from Nepal, if any organization wish to contribute, and if that contribute goes to the participant from Nepal itself, then there could be an encouraging factor for local organization to contribute. So if from Nepal I contribute, and if that goes to some other participant from other country, that might not be a good interest for that. If we build up some fellowship like that, that could be a interesting contribution as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Babu. I think Aiden has his hand up, so I'll move to him.
Okay, thank you so much. I do hope everyone can hear me. Aiden Federline. So I wanted to respond to Henriette's suggestion because I think it's a good one, actually. I think when I look at what the IGF SA is, I think it makes sense for it to be a membership-based organization. And I agree with Vint that there should be perhaps different tiers of membership. Some members will be able to afford to pay more than others will. I think that $100 is inadequate, and that there will be some organizations that have greater capacity to give. But I do think that everyone needs to be involved in some way, and I think if you are receiving a contribution or you're receiving something in kind from IGFSA, you should be a part of this network. I also would I was on the steering committee of a Ford Foundation initiative that was trying to build an alumni network of public interest technologists funded by the Ford Foundation. And we were thinking through as well sort of, business models of how do you being entitled for P. So just maybe doing this activity another time as well, thinking through other ways of supporting this work, which may include seeking grants from different organizations, may include dues, but there could be other business models that are out there that may be able to raise additional funds, because I agree this is really important work and we need to find a way to greatly grow. the budget.
Thank you, Aidan. I'll pass it to Adam. I see a 5 minutes alert being given, but we started late, so we will try to extend another 5 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. I must go to another workshop. You've seen how these workshops need preparing quite a lot, so I'm going to go and panic about that. Just wanted to say that we have staff who are responsible for most countries and regions in the world, so please use Chris Mondini to, if people are starting IGFs or have IGFs and would like extra resources, I don't mean money necessarily, but I do mean people who've been involved in outreach engagement and know a lot of the issues, then I'm sure that the global stakeholder engagement staff would be very helpful to help in any way we can, and Mr. Mondini is your point of contact, and I could be if you ask nicely. And thank you very much for the meeting. Thank you very much, Jennifer, for all the support from .Asia, because we're
You have to be here for the group photo on behalf of Chris Mondini, so you can't run. So I think we would request you to share your mic is off. Okay, it's on. So I think we would request you to put in your ideas, think about it and share it with us. We need your support, because without it we would not be able to do. And I think the next section where Jennifer wants to go is on the election, where I cannot speak. So Jennifer, over to you.
Thank you, Amrita. Just a really quick reminder, because I want to save more time for the open discussion. PO, are you showing? Perfect. So we have one last day for all the active members to use their ballots. The last report I got from our webmaster is we only have 68% of the ballots returned. You know who you are. If you're not sure, come to me after the meeting. Ask me and use your ballots. Definitely do participate in the vote. We do want to return our executive committee members to the council. Sorry, not council, the committee. And to the next slide, please. And this I will hand back to Amrita.
So as a process, as a mandate of the Swiss government, we would request you to release the executive committee members of obligations. And seeing no objection, I guess it's taken. And if there is any other comments, any queries or any suggestions, we did have a discussion that perhaps we should do a quarterly or at least a meeting of the members, because it is so disconnected most of the time. In case that works with you all, that would be good. We could, if there is a thumbs up somewhere, that would also help in the Zoom room, that you would support a quarterly call of the IGF Support Association community. Okay, seeing none, I guess it is something we can work with. Is there any other thing anyone wants to share? So if not, thank you so much. And can we have all the Zoom participants online? We'll take a group photograph. So if you all can come this side, we'll take a group photograph and leave the room. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.